For the past few weeks, a lot of people have been talking about TNC's business model, but I feel like every video is either too biased or just too surface level. So I'm making this video and covering everything related to TNC, from paywalls to pay-per-views to pimping.
Hey, yo!
But I've been watching TNC since before it was TNC. I remember watching Friga Fan vs Wild Hunt 1v1s, and I've been watching pretty much every video since then. I paid for Kel vs Pat, I bought the bundle for TNC02, and I have a subscription to TNC League, so I feel like I'm qualified to talk about this from the perspective of a real heavy TNC supporter, so let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is paywalls. Now, when I'm talking about paywalls, I really just mean TNC League, and there's a lot of problems with TNC League. First of all, it's just not TNC quality content. Looking at the first tournament, there's no commentary, and there's this weird game mode that just isn't as entertaining as the stuff we normally see. We do get to see a lot of unique matchups, and I get that, but we barely see them. And these matchups are so short that the games don't really mean anything. Like, it's not hurting a player's stock and it's not helping a player's stock to win one of these. But I guess that's the point. Also, I think playing on TNC League hurts the players at the end of the day. TNC has always wanted players to stay with the program, not go out and play on a bunch of different platforms, which helps them keep their stock high so that they could eventually make more money through playing on TNC and then use that attention to grow their personal brands. But this model kind of contradicts that. The players are getting money off these subscriptions. I don't know how many subscriptions there are, but it can't be more than probably 10,000 people. And there's a big difference between 10,000 people seeing you play and 100,000 or a million. Like, only getting 10,000 people to watch you means significantly less for these players' personal brands. So they might be getting money from subscriptions, but they're getting a lot less attention. But I feel like this is an easy problem to solve. All you have to do is post this content on YouTube. It could be 2 to 4 weeks later, and the diehard supporters are still gonna pay to see it early. I feel like that's a good compromise so the players can still get the attention they deserve. Now, I see how Scotty might not want this because the content quality just isn't the same. But I think the solution to that is just keep the quality of the content high, so it could be posted on YouTube. But if they want to do something where like they make more secondary type of content, then I don't see why they couldn't post this on a second channel a few weeks later, so that they could keep all of the best quality stuff on the main channel but still give players the attention they deserve. Another problem with TNC League is that the players are getting more tax on the body. I know a lot of hoopers are used to playing 2 days straight, but I mean, looking at the first tournament, these guys had to play basically like 6 1v1s. And it's 1s and 2s up to 7, basically, you know, 2s and 3s to around 15. They had to do that like 6 times the day before they played 1v1. And I'm not saying this is the reason, but we saw the next day Burke's knee give out, and we also saw significantly worse performances from guys like Key and Burke. So I think that's just another thing to think about. We're getting worse content, the players aren't getting as much attention, and they're putting more tax on their bodies, which could hurt the primary content on YouTube. Next, I want to talk about pay-per-views. I think TNC01 and TNC02 were both great. I think it's definitely worth the $20, and the players do deserve that money. I also think 20 is a pretty reasonable price for a primarily US audience, but still, I do think these games need to be posted on YouTube at some point, even if it's 1 or 2 months later. The players deserve to get the full attention of the YouTube audience. Like, the general YouTube audience doesn't know some of these guys. When I talk to my friends that are more casual TNC viewers, they don't even know who Lat or Saint is. They might know Lat from the 85-point game, but almost all of his games are paywalled now. Also, there's a lot of viewership in other countries where 20 USD is a lot of money, so they're completely missing out on this content. Alright, now we're probably getting into the most controversial part of this video, and I am low-key rage baiting with the title, I'm not gonna lie. Scotty probably is not gonna like this part, but I'ma just be honest. We know that there's some players that are off limit for other platforms like Kim, Tay, Day, and probably Rob after the whole Summer Jam drama, but it really goes beyond that. It seems like guys who go to Balls Life and OTD just aren't welcome anymore, and I get why Scotty doesn't want to promote people that are gonna leave, but TNC could only support so many players at once. If you aren't paying them to be exclusive and they aren't consistently getting games, then it makes sense for them to leave to go to another platform to get some games too, because these guys got families they gotta provide somehow. I'd get it if there was a bunch of TNC League subscribers maybe a second channel on YouTube, and there was a bunch of different series going on, so players could actually play games more often. But the way it's set up right now, only a few guys can really win, and the fans are missing out on great matchups because of this exclusivity thing. The fans want to see Nas, they want to see Scoob, Zay, Nesco, but we just don't get to. I 100% get not wanting to help other platforms because this is a business, but I think TNC has to put the fans and the players first. So I think TNC can fix a lot of these problems with just a few changes. The first being just improving the TNC League content. Something I would really like to see is more tag team 1v1s, which we don't really see on the main channel that much. Next, I think these really should be posted to YouTube, even if it is a few weeks later, and even if it is on a second channel. And then the same thing with the pay-per-views. I feel like these need to be posted to YouTube so players can get the exposure they deserve. And then also players should be welcome back. Even if they went and played for other platforms, people want to see the matchups, so just let them play. Just making these small changes would make the fans happier, and at the end of the day, it probably would make TNC more money. So it's really a win-win.